This show might have the most terrifying plot you will ever see. But first, let me paint the scene for you. It's a day like any other, and you and the boys or gals are out having some coffee at a cafe. One of your friends starts talking about a new video that just went viral of these big beasts going around and beating people to death. A discussion then starts between your friends. One side thinks that it is CGI and the other side believes that it is real. However, just across this same coffee shop is a man who looks like he has just been stood up on his date. He looks very anxious, but as soon as the clock hits 1:20, my man goes into hyperdrive. The man closes his eyes and starts shaking with fear, but nothing happens. He opens his eyes and looks like he is very relieved about something, and then boom! Suddenly these big hulking smoky beasts break through the cafe window and super punches the man across the cafe into some shelves. He struggles to get to his feet, but as soon as he does, he sprints out of the cafe and down a busy street, with the monsters following close behind. But my god, look at the pace on this guy. He is moving. One of the monsters decides that's enough cardio for one day, and he leaps in front of the man. The man has no idea what to do at this point, so out of desperation he crawls under a car, but the monster ain't got no time for these types of games, so he grabs him by the tootsies and smashes him like the Hulk into multiple cars and then throws him to his friend, who then slams his head into a bus window and drags him across the thing. The third musketeer then gets his time to shine and he bites a chunk out of the back of our man's neck before the other two monsters crowd around and start clawing at his body, slicing him to shreds. They then huddle around him looking like they're trying to revive one of the boys who went down in Fortnite, and a big glow appears, followed by the man's agonizing screams of pain. The monsters, feeling satisfied with their work, then sprint towards a building and magically disappear through it, leaving behind only the burnt skeletal remains of this man. Still not convinced? Well, what if I told you that these big boys right here are actually demons sent from hell to demonstrate the pain and hopelessness of hell? I can see a lot of you are still not convinced, but I have one more interesting factoid that might just tip the scales. In this world, this disembodied angelic head appears out of nowhere to people and gives what they call a decree to seemingly random people. In this decree, the figure then tells the victim exactly the time and date they are going to die, more often than not being less than a week away. And that's scary in and of itself, but the head then ends this decree by saying, you are bound for hell. The man we just seen being thrown around like an inflatable toy was one of these unlucky people, and that the demons that are coming to give you your punishment are solely doing it to demonstrate the pain you are about to feel for the rest of your existence. That is genuine nightmare fuel to me. The show we're going to be covering today, folks, is Hellbound. So follow me as we watch multiple people get damned for all eternity. We start by following the police, who are trying to find out who murdered the man that we seen at the start of this, even though they have piles of video evidence of this man getting absolutely rocked by non-human creatures. It seems pretty cut and dry to me, but let's follow these incompetent idiots. And this man on the screen is one of our main characters, and his name is, let me see if I'll get this right, Jin Hyung Hun. Yes, Young Hun? That sounds right. But from now on, I'm just going to call him the detective, because Korean names do not slide off the Irish tongue all too well. But anywho, they get a call about some more charred remains that were left on a highway, and they rush to the scene. It's here that they run into the chairman of a new religious movement called the New Truth. His name is Jun Jingsu, and oh my god, I can't say his name. Jin Su. There we go. And we're just going to call him the chairman because simplicity. He's giving a speech right next to the crime scene. Very sus. During this speech, he talks about more cases of what he likes to call the demonstration, and he lists off all of the sins that each of these victims have committed, consisting of abuse, SA, murder, robbery, and not liking and subscribing to the Real EXO. You hear that? If you don't want these big demonic dump trucks breaking through your door and giving you a tickling sent from Beelzebub himself, you know what to do. He goes on to say that everyone who has received a decree is a sinner, and this is God's plan basically. He wants to cleanse the world of sin while at the same time showing people who haven't sinned why they shouldn't. And that's a good point and all, but if you think about it realistically, at the point in time right now, humanity is the most civilized and sinless that we have ever been. So why now, when we are more civilized, are these demons coming to show us why we're being so naughty? We then follow a tired looking woman who is making her way home from work. When she gets home, she is greeted by her two kids who sing happy birthday to her with a scrumptious looking cake. No need to activate my sweet tooth like that. However, this lovely scene is then ruined by the disembodied head coming up and doing what the disembodied head do, and says to her that she is going to die in 5 days and that she is bound for hell. Is it too late to ask for a slice? And also turns out that her son actually caught this exchange on camera, so that will come into play a little bit later. Now we take a little detour to talk about another extremist group in this world called Arrowhead. The most prominent member is this extravagant looking chap who does live streams updating members of Arrowhead about, you know, situations going on with the demonstrations and yada yada yada. And it's safe to say he is an energetic chap at least, and this group takes it upon themselves whenever they learn somebody has sinned or has gotten a decree to go out onto the streets like wannabe Batmen and take it upon themselves to beat these people up with bats and other forms of blunt weapons and try to get them to confess their sins, while saying that they are doing God's work while taking a swing. This show is a bit too realistic sometimes. But back to the topic at hand. After receiving her decree, the woman then goes to the police station to tell them the situation and show them the video. The two people here are the detective and a lawyer who is a very prominent character from here on out. The woman, who I'm going to call the mother from now on so there's no confusion, says that the chairman has already come to her with a deal. The deal being that she will let them live stream her demonstration because, and I quote, they want to document the exact moment she is dragged to hell. Heartless bastards. The mother herself is not sure if this is even real or anything. She isn't fully convinced, but just in case it is real, she wants to have money to be able to leave to her children. The lawyer then sets up a meeting with the chairman to go over the terms of the stream, and after a few awkward and just downright creepy moments, they eventually agree to it. As the day of the mother's demonstration gets closer, someone ends up leaking the identity of the mother to the Arrowhead fuckers, and they instantly start trying to uncover what her sin is. They conclude in a matter of 5 fucking minutes at that her sin must be that she abuses her children, based off of this one picture they found of a single bruise on this kid's arm. So they then go on a widespread manhunt looking for this woman so they can take her kids away from her. What a bunch of psychopaths. The lawyer catches wind of this and rushes to the mother's house to get her kids out of the country. It's a tense journey with many suspicious looking people looking into the windows of the car. However, the kids safely board the plane and they are sent on their way. The day of the demonstration is here. Yippee! And tensions are very, very high. They have cameras all around the apartment and they even took out the wall so that the onlookers from the crowd have a better look at this woman's demise. These sick fucks even have VIP seats set up close to the action for whatever sadistic fucks are willing to pay. And there are also police scattered all around the apartment waiting in position to protect this woman if anything ever goes down. But the stream is about to start and the countdown begins.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And then nothing. The crowd looks around confused and then boom! The demons break into the room and everyone is in disbelief. They instantly grab her and pin her to the wall, and when I say pin, I mean they genuinely pin her arm to the wall. The chief screams at his men to open fire, but everyone is too scared to even lift a finger. And for good reason, if I'm honest, because when the detective runs in and starts opening fire on this demon, he turns and hits him with the fattest uppercut, sending him into a wall, knocking him out. The demons start beating on this mother when she's on the ground as she is screaming and writhing in pain, and they eventually collect her soul and dip, jumping directly in front of the VIPs, leaving the crowd and everyone watching around the world in disbelief. This marks a new era for humanity where the literally undeniable proof of the divine, basically setting the path for the new truth's power and influence to grow massively. Just imagine being this woman, right? You have been doomed to hell and all of these people are outside your house that no longer has a fucking wall, chanting and screaming all night that you deserve to be punished. You deserve to go to hell. The scariest part of this scene, in my mind, is this is exactly what would happen in real life. The Arrowhead goons, which at this point in the show it's hinted at that the New Truth and Arrowhead are actually in cahoots, you know, like scissoring and shit. Just thought I'd throw that information in there. But the Arrowhead goons label the lawyer, the police chief, and the detective as pagans, basically. They label the lawyer and the chief this because they did not bow like everyone else in the crowd because they're not fucking sheep, after being presented with undeniable proof of the divine. Let me just question this, right? Hell is the bad place. place, yeah? So why the fuck, when you see something that you believe is sent from hell, why the fuck would you bow to a fucking demon? Are you crazy? Why do they assume that it is God's doing? Oh, well, that's because the new truth tells them so. But anywho, back to the show. They label the detective as a pagan for shooting the demon and trying to protect the woman, and that is no bueno for the new truth and Arrowhead. So they start a manhunt to fucking hunt these people down, basically. The police chief is left beaten to a pulp on the side of the street, and the lawyer and her sick mother, who is going through chemo, both get jumped and beaten to a pulp with bats and bars. And as the final shot, the final nail in the coffin, some absolute brainiac decides to hit the mother in the back of the head with his fucking bar, which eventually kills her. Very righteous individuals, I must say. Killing a chemo patient? Damn, doing God's work out here. We then cut to the detective and his journey, and this man must have balls of fucking titanium, because instead of being the one getting hunted, he is on the hunt for the chairman, because he believes that he has taken his daughter and indoctrinated her into the group. He walks through a huge group of believers, all of which hate his guts because of what he done, and there is not a single look of hesitation on this man's face. I respect it. However, the journey was a waste, because he gets to the chairman's room only to find out that he is no longer there. Once the detective gets back outside, all of the believers now believe that they have a spine because there is 400 of them now, and they start beating up the detective and almost beat him to death. He is saved when the chairman gives him a call. The chairman then says to let the detective come and see him, and he texts him an address to go and meet him. While all this is happening, the lawyer ends up getting an envelope from somebody that has some documents in it that shows that the chairman of the New Truth religion actually received a decree himself 20 years ago. Intrigued by this, of course, the lawyer then goes to speak with the doctor who gave this interview. And now in the show, it cuts back and forth between these two situations like throughout the entire fucking episode. So I'm just gonna go over the detective side first, and then I'll go over the lawyer side. The detective then gets to the location the chairman sent him, and it is an abandoned orphanage that the chairman himself used to go to. He finds the chairman playing some tunes on a piano and wastes no time to get down to business. He starts screaming at him, asking where his daughter is. The chairman then says, "I will tell you where she is once you let me finish my story." And his story, gentlemen, changes the entire fucking show. He goes on to say that he received a decree 20 years ago, and he is meant to receive his demonstration 10 minutes from now. He then goes on to say that he has never committed a sin in his entire life, and after he received it, he went on a journey trying to find more people that have received decrees like he has. He then says that he done all of this because he wanted to find one exception to the rule. He wanted to find one person who escaped the demonstration. However, he has not been lucky. He hasn't found any. But he says for 20 years he has been living in constant fear every single day. And he then goes on to say his reason for why he created the New Truth. And this is what turns the tables on this show completely. He goes on to say that he has no fucking clue why this phenomenon happens. He's not sure if it has anything to do with God. Anybody can get a decree. Doesn't matter if you sinned or not. He said that he made up the New Truth because, and I quote, "if people knew it was random, chaos would break out." And the reason he done it the way he done it, by telling people that it's only sinners, if they believe that it is only sinners, they will not want to sin. He then gives the detective a choice. He says, "you either record my demonstration and expose it to the world, which will send everything into chaos because nobody will believe the New Truth and everyone will know that it is actually just random selection." He then adds that if he does end up recording the video, the world will never be the same again, and what he will be returning to is basically hell on earth. The other option he gives him is to remain silent about it and live in the world that me and your daughter have created for you. I don't know why he says it as if his daughter had a big part to play, and he ends it by saying that if you choose to stay silent, please expose of my remains. The detective chooses not to record the demonstration and stands there just frozen in fear while the chairman is being flung around like a fucking frisbee and sent to hell. We then cut to the lawyer to see what she's been doing this whole time, and she has made it to the interviewer's house. He brings her in to talk about the situation, and he actually even shows her the voice recording of the chairman's interview talking about the fucking decree. All seems to be going well, and she asks can she have a copy of that. This is actually really funny, but to which the fucking doctor, or whatever he is, I don't know what he is, the pastor, her, drags the fucking file slowly to the recycle bin and then deletes it in front of her eyes. And then's like, oh, actually I can't. It seems I'm after deleting it. You know, that reminds me of that South Park joke.
Then we'll reinvest the earnings into foreign currency accounts with compounding interest and it's gone.
She is obviously confused about this because she can't believe what she just seen. He then goes on to say that the chairman told him that if he stays quiet about it, then he will be the next chairman of the New Truth after his demonstration. However, he just needs to prove himself. How is he going to do that, you ask? By killing the lawyer. She runs out of this little mobile home in a panic to see a bunch of hoodlums just standing there with bats and shit. He walks up after this woman is being grabbed by an entire fucking crowd of people and just talks to her as if he's the big man. If you can't even fight me with your own 2 fists, how dare you try mouth off? But she gets beaten, and the last thing that we see of this woman is her lifeless body on some rocks. And the next thing we see is an excited new mother who wants to show her baby to her husband. So she dons some nurse attire and sneaks into the new baby ward. In the video, she does a little bit of a room tour as a bit of a joke. As she turns the corner, she is faced with a sight that no mother would want to see. She sees a big disembodied angel head telling her newborn baby that she has 3 days left to live and that she is bound for hell. But I'll save that for another video. My god, this show is insane. It is such a crazy premise at that. Like, it shows so many things, you know? It shows like the desperation of humans and what we're capable of when we're desperate, what we can turn into when we're like faced with such a horrible thing as, you know, being damned to hell. The acting, insane. Loved the acting. The characters were really cool as well. I loved the detective. He was an absolute fucking beast. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. But I hope you enjoyed this video. This is the first time I've done a movie commentary type of style on a show. So if you like this type of style and you want me to do it with shows going forward, let me know. I have a load of shows I want to do it with, like All of Us Are Dead. Kingdom is one of them too. If you like my face and you want to see more, make sure to subscribe and make sure to leave a like, because apparently likes matter now on YouTube, which is crazy. We're stupidly close to 2K, so do with that information what you will. And if you want to see more of me outside of YouTube, I have my Instagram and my Twitter down in the description below. If I get enough followers on my Instagram, I'll start doing like little behind the scenes stories and all that stuff, and I'll think of more shit that I could do as well. But yeah, with that all said, folks, it's been EXO. I'll talk to you all later. Have a good one, folks.